All right, so welcome to the exchange. So, first and foremost, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just here to give you my opinion on what I see in the stock markets. Looking to the left to see what has happened, then looking to the right to see what may happen. Do your own due diligence. Make sure you invest money in things you know about. If you don't know, invest in yourself and learn. That's the best way you can make money out here and have some security in these markets. So, let's look at what happens to stock markets so we can get a better idea and some security in exchange. Welcome to the Exchange Show.
All right, so let's get started. We're going to be talking about SPY first. Um, right now, we are looking at a downtrend. I don't want to go ads free because I'm doing this for free. So, we're looking at a downtrend, but I currently think we're looking at a pullback and a continuous downtrend. So, what we want to do is the following to confirm this. First, I have my indicator and down here that's telling me the strength of the market. It's saying, hey, look, things are going down. Generally, you understand that. We already broke our inner trend line. We're at our outer trend line, and this is matching something very important. We had a gap in the daily time frame, which is now being filled. Here's the question. Are we going to pull up to fill this gap here at the 548 to the 553 area? If we do, let's see if it lines up to some good old Fibonacci retracement. All right, so essentially remember our gap is filled to the downside. Are we going to fill a gap to the upside? Well, right here at this line right here, the 0.50 is in the middle of that gap. If we have a stronger pullback in the current downtrend, it may go up to 554. So what could be our entries to a further downside move? 554 and 551. It depends on how much of a pullback we're going to get. And once again, in my opinion, we're in a current downtrend. This can be considered a pullback for the current uptrend though. And we've been going up for a while. All right. So if we're doing it both ways, currently if we're in a downtrend, pulling up to the 554 and the 551 would be great entries to a further downtrend. If we're going to consider this a pullback and a major uptrend, let's do it that way. Here to here, we are currently looking at a level, and it's an area. It's never 100% exact. At the 618, we're in that 618 area here, and up here we already passed the 0.5. And it's funny how a lot of this stuff lines up if you do your gaps or support and demands, or support and resistance and supply and demands. A lot of stuff will add up to being around the same thing. Currently we're at the 0.38. If we're going to have a push forward, these candles are looking like rejection candles. So if we're having a major push up or push up continually, we may get that. In my opinion, though, I think we're going to look for some more downside movement. And this week you have reporting that could actually push that more to the downside. So I am looking for SPY to get to about this area here, 553s, 554s, only because there may be a run up in Apple and Amazon. I think they're reporting this week. Let's make sure. Um, let's see here. Yeah, this week, I want to say we are going to. You got McDonald's. Mm, what else do we have? Yeah, so let's do this an easier way. Amazon's coming up on the 1st, and then you have Apple coming up on the 1st. So, just based on that, you may have a push up real quick and then a drop. but they have both been coming down as well. Now, if those two report good, then SPY is going to take off. It's just going to take off on the first after the news. But you don't want to get caught in the news itself or people taking advantage of a drop or a really big push. You want to wait until the news has settled and then you want to jump in. Um, at this point, I'm looking for a pullback at least up to this area, 551. So that's what I see for the SPY. I'm looking for a more downtrend, but it all depends on the reporting of Apple and Amazon. Currently in Tesla, I still think we're going to do the same thing. It's got a gap above here now. It's two gaps actually, so we can just make that into one instead of having a smaller one here. Let's do this one here to there. So we have a gap to the upside. We are filling that gap. Did we actually fill the gap to the downside? It looks like we probably did. Yeah, we pretty much did. It's very, very close to filling that gap. It pretty much did it all the way. On a smaller time frame, it probably did do it. But currently, we really want to see a push back up for Tesla. Um, you may not get that though. Let's be honest. So if we're not going to get that push, 208 and then 199. Those are the areas to the downside. And you may not like it as an investor, but it is what it is. At this point, it is below. Um, yeah, it's below the 14. It's below the 9. If we come down, it would actually be at 205. The only reason I'm saying that is because the 200-day and the 48-day are right there. It coincides with a push down to the downside. So I would look for 208 to be a good entry if you want to look for a push up in Tesla. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin currently is in a it's in a push up. It's pushing up since last week. It looks like it's stalling out, but we have a supply area up here as well. Now, every time it gets up there to the 70s, it's getting rejected. It's getting rejected every time. Now, we've had a lot of order pickup from down this movement, and it's been picking up, and picking up. We had this flash down 63, and we're moving up, and we're also starting to get a little squeezed here. So at this moment, we could probably see a good push up to at least go to those 70s one more time and see if there's enough orders up there for us to push through. But I see Bitcoin going further up. I don't see it coming down for at least a little bit longer. It just did its touch off the 14, and since now all the high buyers pretty much are running Bitcoin or running Ethereum, in my opinion, it's going to start running just like the stock market does. So you're going to start seeing a lot of correlation between the moving averages being hit and then buys and sells and confirmations of things instead of that very dramatic up and down movement that we're used to with Bitcoin in general. So looking forward, I am seeing a push to the upside, at least to rival that 71,000 area. Uh, I may get back into BITO. Now, last week I did have a play in BITO. I closed that. I was up about 48%. I closed it at, I did a little one, $79 on profit for that. So I was very happy. I like that. That's lunch money. Um, let's go to our next one. We got, and I don't know if you saw this, but UPS. I want you to look at UPS. UPS is down bad. Oh, they are bad. Now, it looks like it has a little bit further to go, but I'm going to turn this into a weekly view. I'm going to turn my indicator off. All right, the first thing I'm going to do, I see a gap. I'm going to label that gap, and that's a huge gap. So their earnings was bad. It was a surprise. That's not good. But at this moment, we're going to go into the weekly time frame. On a weekly time frame, we are now going to go back. Oh, lordy, lordy. Look at that big move up. So it looks like we got a. All right, let's label this. We're only going to go so far. So about here. That's going to be support. Then we have a. Here we go. Got a demand area. You got, I mean, generally, you can call these two demand areas or one big demand area because there's another one here. That's a lot of orders probably waiting down here too. And depending on how this is going to run, this may be a really, really good setup for UPS. It has come down and pretty much given back a lot of its movement. And you'll notice, let's turn this into a monthly view because we want to see something. We want to see if in the monthly view, if it becomes clearer, and it looks like it is a bit clearer. What we want to do is we want to start doing a head and shoulder pattern. So if we do that, you got in the monthly time frame, looks like we have a head and shoulders pattern for UPS. If we're going to go with the pattern being complete, you may see a push up. I think UPS could be really prime in a weekly. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it wants to go up in the weekly. So what we'll do here is a trend line. We got a trend line here. Next, I want to mark a second trend line. So you might be asking why. Well, for me, I want to see if it's an outer inner trend line that kind of lines up with what I'm seeing down here. And it looks like I do see something like that. So let's go to the daily. So on the daily time frame, you'll notice we had a big gap here that was filled going up. We had another high put in, big gap here that was filled. Now we have a big gap here. And it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Let's see what the last one was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it went down more. Okay. So we don't have a strict pattern. We have, all right, so we're going to have to wait for an actual signal after that gap. So signal after the gap usually indicates an upward movement. Where's our next gap here? Then we have a buy here. Gap. Then we got a buy signal. Gap. So we're looking for a buy signal at the bottom here of UPS. That will confirm a push up, which will close this gap. And most likely, let's see. I don't want to go off percentages because it's not going to be the same all the time, but it will at least go to this area here. Let's see. About there. 146. So I would say that would be a take profit at 146. Now let's be honest. Let's be conservative. Put it there. 144. So that's what I'm looking for in this week's. There we go. Move that over. That's what I'm looking for this week on the exchange. I'm interested in UPS, but I'm waiting for a buy signal pop out. I have not gotten it yet. It is still in a sell signal. And if it pops that buy signal, though, I am definitely interested in that push up because I feel like it'll be due. It seems like it's going to go with what's happened so far in the past. And UPS is a pretty good company if you look at the actual revenue and everything. Take your time though, do your own research and learn how to wait for that win. I'll see you next week on the exchange.